Hello, everybody. It's John Kranz. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live, episode 59. It's a pleasure to have you here. Today is June 24th, 2021, and we've got a pretty full house for today. We've got a lot of nice activity and nice discussions planned. Also, we're going to be headlining with our special guest, José Ruiz, known as Stuka Joe, for those very familiar with his YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and as always, let's go ahead and get started. So want to give you some quick updates. We have updated since we last spoke our pipeline schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here just a little bit to see if we can get a little closer look at it. So first of all, yes, NATO, the Cold War goes hot. I just saw your comments online that you've been charged recently for this game. That's correct, because the game's going to be shipping out on July 7th. So we're excited to get Bruce Maxwell's vastly updated and design out to everybody. We're excited about that. And then you see our other release for July will be Defending America by Gregory Smith. And I saw Gregory's joined us tonight as well. So great to have Gregory on the line. Then looking to August, we have Granada, Last Stand of the Moors. We know we're going to be actually releasing that on the first day in August. So you'll see that specific date there for Granada. And then followed by really a whole pack. We've got both the reprint for the War of Europe, and then the new release, the War of the Pacific, is slated for August. So August is going to have 3 games, one being a reprint. So we're actually there's going to be 5. Sorry, there's going to be 5 releases in August. Because we've also got Paper Wars that's going to be released featuring Alma by Tai Bamba. And we've got also the much anticipated original edition Russian campaign 1974, which I think we did a little discussion about the map board with Bill and Billy Thomas during our recent town hall session. So August actually has a lot of activity slated for August between reprints and Paper Wars, etc. Usually we're going to be around 2 new releases per month, but in general, we will not count reprints as a official product release because it's a reprint, and typically Paper Wars will also just slip in to a monthly schedule as well. So that's why August is going to be a very, very busy month for Compass Games. And then rounding out the schedule, we have Imperial Tide, another Gregory M. Smith title focusing on World War I, and then Kharkov Battles, which is also long anticipated. We're very excited to see we've now got Kharkov Battles on our release schedule for September. As always, I want to thank everybody that's reached out to us. So that little waving hand in the bottom right-hand corner, you probably see on the screen that says, talk to us. Thanks for all your feedback you've given us. It's been very helpful. For those that have had customer service issues, questions about an order, or needing help with a replacement part, just to let you know, you want to send an email to sales@compassgames.com, because our office folks will take care of you right away. Whereas I'm going to be able to respond to any general feedback or ideas you have. So just want to let you know that you can take out the middleman, which is me. If you have any customer service things you'd like to see resolved, just send an email to sales@compassgames.com, and you'll definitely be taken care of. Also, just want to announce that we sent out our newsletter for the week earlier today for, again, June 24th. So the big news is, and we announced this, we did a special live impromptu broadcast commemorating June 22nd, Operation Barbarossa, which is we have a new expansion for Russia Besieged Deluxe Edition. It's available for pre-order right now from our website. Of course, in the future, we'll have the designer Art Lupinacci on joining us as well to talk about all of Russia Besieged, but especially the Finnish expansion as well, which basically will complete all of the Eastern Front with this game. So we're really happy to be able to announce that. If you missed the announcement, just to give you a quick elevator pitch about the game, again, it's adding the Finnish front. You can see part of the map here in this graphic. It's adding 1.5 counter sheets, 5/8 inch counter sheets. It's adding, besides doing the Finnish front, which you're going to get a 1 hour, takes about 1 hour to play. There's a separate Finnish front scenario that can be played, but obviously the idea is you want to mate it up with Russia Besieged Deluxe Edition for the entire Eastern Front experience. So that's obviously why folks are going to want to take a look at this title for sure. It is required, I should mention, it is required to have Russia Besieged Deluxe Edition. You'll need that in order to play the Finnish expansion. So you do need to have the deluxe edition game. You can see here there's some sample counters. Again, you'll see a lot more graphics. Actually, we have a lot of graphics on the web page, so please check it out on our website. It's our new pre-order. And also there's some bonus materials you'll find in this expansion. You'll also find a historical scenario on the Battle of Kursk. That was done by Charles Papagood, who's done a lot of great historical research. So he's done a specific historical scenario for the Battle of Kursk for the game. And then also there is what we call a first turn analysis. It's very in depth. It's like the player's guide in effect, like we released our player's guide for Russia Besieged, and this is sort of like a mini player's guide is yet again included in the Finnish expansion because it goes through great details of what to do on the first turn. What are your play options for turn one on the various fronts? So that's definitely going to be a nice bonus as well. All that's going to be included, and best news of all is this is a boxed expansion. It's not just a booklet. It's actually a boxed expansion for the game. So we're really excited about it. Please check it out. I've got the little glowing halo behind me that's going to force you to do that pre-order, pay later, hopefully. Also, just a reminder where if I click on this, I believe we're in our final 2 days, 42 hours to go for Bruce Maxwell's NATO. Please check out the Kickstarter. You'll also notice on the Kickstarter, we have a video that walks you through all the components. You can also find the rule booklet for NATO as well. And on the product, when we have the product page up live again, and actually we have it here. Actually, I'm misspeaking here. We added it to the Kickstarter. We have a very nice playthrough that was done by Maurice Fitzgerald of Moe's Game Table with Bruce Maxwell that gives you a really good sense of the game with one of the intro scenarios, so you can get a good flavor for what's changed in NATO, how the game mechanics work. Definitely check it out. There's also another video on this Kickstarter page, which is a designer interview that was done as well with Bruce Maxwell. So definitely want to mention NATO. A lot of people have been waiting for it. I see a lot of early buzz about it, and I think the buzz is probably just building now that people are getting notified that their cards are getting charged for pre-orders now, which means it's imminently coming, which it is on July 7th. So we're excited about NATO. The Cold War goes hot. Also, again, our most recent release is our 3-inch box, large, 2 games in one, Ancients era. People are really excited to see us doing more Ancients games as well, so we're happy to do that. Cradle of Civilization, we had a great interview on that as well. So again, definitely check out Cradle of Civilization. That is now shipping as well. And there is an unboxing video for Cradle of Civilization. Bill was kind enough to do 3 separate games for our June special. So there's a week left if you're interested in taking advantage of our special pricing, our special offers for June. And that is, again, you don't need any coupon code. It's already done automatically from our website. So you can get Korea Fire and Ice for only $50, save $35 on that. Then we've got another operational scale system game, which is Vietnam Rumor of War. That's going to be just $55 instead of $89. And then I've actually seen quite a few photos of this we've put on our Compass Games Facebook page, and that is the Oast Creek World War II Eastern Front, which is it's a derivative of the Pacific Tide game system by Gregory Smith, and this was done by Gregory and Mitchell Ledford together, this design. So obviously taking the air naval system, now we've got a ground game in effect covering Eastern Front World War II. And there, again, on our Facebook page, I know we have a gentleman who's been posting 2 separate playthroughs of Oast Creek that were quite interesting, quite different outcomes. So just want to mention that. And again, obviously here's our date, July 7th for NATO. So again, that's coming next. One thing we're going to start doing is we want to do more outreach for those that we're so grateful just to have you as customers, and of course a special gratitude goes to those out there supporting Compass Games. So I definitely want to see if we can get Mark Ruggiero and David White on for a broadcast. They're the ones that created the Facebook Compass Games Enthusiast group, which is dedicated to discussing Compass Games. And it's a great group. It's well over 700 members now. I forgot to update the number because it's growing too fast. But I hope to have them on actually on a Compass Games Live episode in the future. So really great to have such support from you. We really appreciate it. And we're definitely going to we're definitely going to plug the effort you're doing. Speaking of plugging and support for Compass Games, I do want to give a shout out for Maurice Fitzgerald of Mo's Game Table. As a matter of fact, I want to bring Mo online right now just to be able to thank Mo for all he's doing for us. So how you doing tonight, Mo?
Doing good. How you doing, John?
Great. So what I want to do was I want to talk about this Learn to Play series, and what I'll do, I think, here is I'll go back and I'll show this newsletter because we do have some expanded coverage talking about Learn to Play. And really, this was your idea. I want to give full credit where it's due. Could you share with the audience, introduce them to what the Learn to Play concept's all about, how it's going to be structured, how it's rolling out, since we have our first session coming up in a few days?
Sure, no problem. All the talks in Applebee's, where I'm actually calling from checking in from tonight, as you can see.
Thank you for doing that, by the way. Yes, absolutely.
We always have that little chat in the Applebee's lounge after these chats, after the town halls and these shows. And everyone's talked about playing games and stuff like that. And people have all said, hey, I wish I could play that more often. I want to get to learn it and things like that. So I said, why don't we utilize the Discord the best way we can, which is number one, to play the games. But before you can play the game, you have to learn how to play. So why don't we use this as a learn to play, do maybe 1-2 hour sessions, maybe a little longer if the person wants to go longer if they're teaching it. But initially just give you a rundown of the game, some mechanics, some examples of play. And then that way you have your better arm to go in there and play in the Discord channel with your fellow gamers on the Compass Discord. And then the rest of it is you pay it forward from what you learn. You teach others to how to play these games. Everyone just comes in, watch and learn, and we play together and we learn together.
That's a great concept. And could you talk a little bit about how often you think, I know we're just starting this out, how often do you think this sort of thing will happen, being available for customers who might be interested in a Learn to Play session?
Sure. The initial plan is once a month. I figure that would be a good starting point. And if we can extend it out to be more than once per month, we'll do that. Initially, what we're going to do is we're going to have Blue Water Navy with Stuart Tong. He's going to be the one that's going to be teaching that this Saturday at 2:00 Central Time. So tune in and to the Discord channel, come in and watch. He's going to be running a class. We are going to record it and we'll post it up later for those who can't make it, because I know like John Sai, he's in the Philippines. It's going to be 3 a.m. I think his time. So
perfect for him. He plays really well at 3 a.m. I'm sure of it. So I'm sure he'll join live. John will have no problem whatsoever with that.
Exactly. So, the guys who can't make it, then you can check it out afterwards. But everyone, it really behooves you to be there, because if you can be there, you can actually ask questions that you have. You're not just going to be sitting there being talked to. There's interaction with Stuart. So you can actually ask questions. And this month is going to be Blue Water Navy. We're going to be doing one per month. Great. I've got a few already lined up. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your effort, and a big thumbs up here. Thanks also to Rastaman, who's on YouTube joining us. I don't know if it's the first time he's joining us. Oh, it was great to see names I can't recognize, but he'd like to learn, for example, Indian Ocean region. So definitely it's a great way to get the word out. And again, 100% your idea. Thanks for doing that. You even did the nice little graphic here. I want to say this little Learn to Play and those games you picked, very, very clever little schoolyard play there. Very, very very inviting looking. So you did a great job, and I want to thank you for that. And could we close though just with a brief mention of, I understand also that Jack Stalika is also taking some initiative on behalf of Compass, and he's organized a tournament. I don't know many of the details, but I know you do, because you're helping coordinate on everything. So can you share with everybody about what this tournament concept is going to be like rolling out soon?
Yeah, sure. John is going to, or Jack, I should say, is going to be running this tournament with 8 players, potential up to 16. And he's, if you want to share the screen, we can do a quick look through the initial rule set that he has designed up for this. It's going to be Swiss style tournament, 3 or 4 rounds over a period of 2 or 3 months. There's going to be points awarded. And you can see this is not just something that he's winging, this through. He's actually put some thought into it and has written up a document for rules for the tournament. So there's going to be a structure to it, and it's going to be, like I said, for 8 players, possibly up to 16. And the first game is going to be Europe in Turmoil. And he's going to be working through that whole thing and getting everybody playing. And then you meet up, you play online, and hopefully, again, just like the Learn to Play sessions, everybody get involved, come in and watch. Be mindful of the competitors when they're playing, mute your mic, have your proper Zoom etiquette, and you can ask questions, but when you're not talking, mute your mic. So that way, just like in the Learn to Play session, You don't want to have the dog barking or the kid crying in the background,
Right.
interrupting everybody else. So just to have proper etiquette, but you can also ask questions as well. So there'll be
But
some interaction.
I could be crying if I'm performing poorly, though, right? I could.
Oh, absolutely.
As a participant, I could cry online. There's no rules against that, right?
No, not at all. You can definitely cry, and everybody can comfort you from the cheap seats, as they're watching. But I think it'd be pretty cool. Another great way to have people interacting with each other, because we have this great Discord, and if we get people interacting more and playing more games, and everybody can support each other and learn more.
Right. And speaking of Discord, here, I'll just pull it. I'll pull it up here just for a moment. So here's the Discord channel. Don't worry, everybody. If you haven't seen Discord before, don't freak out. I know this screen is really massively confusing. There's something on the left going on. There's something on the right with a bunch of member names. I realize it's a head spin, but just to let you know how this is going to work is there's a Learn to Play text channel. You can see my arrow, my mouse hand here, just pointing at Learn to Play, where we're talking about this first session that's coming up again on the 26th for Blue Water Navy. And then once we get into the actual session, there's this Learn to Play channel. And I do want to let everybody know that we have upgraded the Compass Games Discord server. This is called a Discord server, what I'm showing here on Discord. And we've upgraded it to full HD level. So it's got optimized sound quality, audio bit rates, and it's got full streaming HD 1080p streaming, which will help for, showing if it's Vassal or what have you. I know you have a link for Vassal to see the set. So we've invested to make sure it's going to be a pleasurable, comfortable experience for everybody. So you can see the tears rolling down my eyes when it comes to tournament time. If I'm losing, we want to show the tears in high def.
Exactly.
So I just want to put in a plug for that. But again, we wouldn't be making those investments in, say, getting Discord premium services unless it was people like yourself, Mo, investing your time for us, doing that for us. And also thanks for the unboxing videos you do as well. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much for doing that. I'll give you any final words. We'll have you back again, obviously. We'll talk about how the Learn to Play went. I think we'll have you back for that. But I'll just give you any closing words you want to say before we let you go tonight.
Well, the one thing I would say about the Learn to Play is I'm going to try to get designers to do it or developers do it as well. But any of you guys out there that knows how to play any of these Compass games that wants to teach, reach out to me and just let me know what you want to teach and when, and we'll get you in the schedule. You don't have to, have a PhD in the game. You just have to have a fair enough knowledge to where you can convey that to other gamers, and then we'll work as a team and we'll all learn it together. So let's just build this community up a little bit stronger and start playing more games together.
Stay on for me with a second here, because there's a question. How do we find Discord page? So just want to mention, if you, one way you can do it is from our website, David. You'll see at the very top right, you'll see our usual contact social media links along the right side here where I'm pointing. But the last one, which you might not recognize, that's actually the Discord server right there. If you click that, it's going to take you straight to our server, which is what I was showing you earlier. There's also links to Discord server on the Console World forum under the Compass Games Company support. We also have a link to our newsletter on the Console World forum, and the newsletter definitely mentions how to find Discord, how to get on it, etc. So there's various ways. If you have any trouble though finding Discord, or you're struggling, just send an email to me at john@compassgames.com, and I'll be happy to help you out. But it is that last icon here on the top right. And then a question for you from Ron, joining us on YouTube tonight. He's asking if there will be recorded sessions for the Learn and Play sessions.
Yeah, the plan is to record them and then post them at a later time, which we will definitely let you know where and when those are posted, so that way everybody can catch up on them. That doesn't make the Learn to Play session.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Mo, for walking us through, for setting it up. Great idea, what you're doing. So appreciative of what you're doing. We'll have you back. Let's talk about how it went, how we're going to develop it further, because I think it serves a good purpose for Compass Games customers. We want to help them out, have some fun also along the way. So thank you so much for joining us tonight to tell us more about the Learn and Play sessions and the tournament as well, of course.
Thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. All righty. Well, I hope that was a good walkthrough of what Mo's been doing. So we really are highly appreciative of what Mo's been doing for us. Absolutely. Also, I do want to just mention before we start with our special guest tonight, Stuka Joe, is we have our Compass Expo coming up, and there is a dedicated page for Expo with the signups, who's going to be attending, etc. I do want to mention, if you signed up for Compass Expo 2020, of course it was canceled because of the pandemic. We all understand that. But if you prepaid for Compass Expo 2020, you have that credit that rolled over automatically for whenever you can attend again. So if you can make it for Compass Games Expo 2021, November 11th through the 15th, Veterans Day weekend, if you've got, you might have that credit. So there's really nothing to pay. So I just want to mention that again. And again, you'll find that on our website. Just look for that Expo link for further information. We'll talk more about the Expo next week during our Thursday night town hall session with Bill Thomas. So again, just want to mention that briefly. Now, as promised, our focus, I mean, we're so lucky at Compass to have so many great folks out there as customers, being on social media, content contributors, and really Stuka Joe definitely ranks as one of the top content contributors out there. His YouTube channel has over 7,000 subscribers. It's been great watching his coverage over the years on various products. And we have something special we're going to actually talk with Stuka Joe about tonight. So, but before we can do that, let's go ahead and welcome Stuka Joe to tonight's show. Hi, Stuka. How you doing?
Hi, John.
Great to see
Great
you.
to be here.
Yeah, you know what? You were actually, we were going to, the big surprise was we were going to have you on 2 weeks ago. And what happened an hour before or 2 hours before?
Island-wide power outage in Puerto Rico.
A big power outage in Puerto Rico. That is correct.
Yeah.
Much sadness where I was trying to think of, and I also had another designer who had to reschedule. So I was trying to think of what in the world do I do now? So we did a little crazy open line viewer call in, which people braved it with me because I've never done it before, and I sort of stumbled my way through it. But we're so happy to have you here tonight. I think a lot of people here know who you are because I just sort of sense from these comments here, for example, that that you've got a captive audience. They're going to want to know what you've been up to. But I think we should start with your background, Joe. Let's talk about. I'm going to call you Joe for Stuka Joe. Let's talk about how you got started with the hobby in general, your interest in gaming, and then let's talk about how you started doing videos.
Well, I was 13 years old. My uncle, he's American. He was married to my aunt, and invited me to Chicago to the Museum of Art. So I went with them, and I don't remember anything about the Museum of Art. We were kind of tired, and so my uncle said, "Let's go to a department store." I went to a department store nearby, and they had these Avalon Hill games on a shelf, like covering a whole wall. I can still remember, seeing the old Guadalcanal, 1914.
That's awesome. That's great.
And then Avalon Hill had just come with those bookcase games. It was a new thing, the bookcase games. And so my uncle said, "Hey, Jose, just pick 2 games." So I picked Luftwaffe and France 1940. And I still have them. And those were my first 2 games. And so
great games. I played both games. So, but I was like, I don't know how old were. How old were you when you were playing those games? How old were you?
I was 13, and I played it wrong the first time. We never landed the planes. They were in the air for a whole year.
Wow, that's great mileage. That's great. That must be some kind of new technology that Herr Hitler was working on there that really didn't get enough attention at the time.
Yeah,
I
they creamed those bombers, man. They just was.
Some great house rules you got there, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, you know a lot about games. People have already commented on your fake wallpaper. That's not really shelving of games behind you. That's just wallpaper. So the truth is already out. It's just a backdrop. It's a green screen. Well, you know that already. I'm joking, of course. What about video? So you've been doing videos for how many years, and how did it start? Let's talk about that.
Been doing videos since the summer of 2013. I at that time I had noticed there was people doing videos of war games like Marco Arnaldo, Callendale, Joe Stedman, and I said, "Hey, that's pretty cool, And I wanted to do a video about a playthrough, so I pulled out the equipment I had, a camcorder, the equipment I had, and I pulled out a magazine game, which is Lion of Ethiopia by Command Magazine,
and I filmed the
whole I filmed the whole thing. 23 turns, and it took it came out at 2 hours and 11 minutes. And then I saw that the people gave it a pretty good reception, because I was filming before and after shots, and I edited the video, and people liked that. So I said, hey, this is kind of pretty cool, And so I started from there, and I always enjoy making videos of war games and editing the videos, so that they don't, they're not too long, and you can go right to the action, and they can be more interesting that way. And so I've done many kinds of videos throughout the years, and I enjoy it very much. And I'm always trying to improve, the quality of the presentation. And the idea is to make videos that are helpful. I have videos that I made in 2014 for extended examples of play, and people still use them today and say, hey, thanks for the video, because it's, it makes easier for people to play the games too.
That's see. I think Mo was channeling the inner Stuka Joe with this learn to play sessions, because I even on Twitter, I responded to somebody on Twitter just 2 days ago saying I wish there was something more like on Vassal where I could learn to play a game, decide if I want it or not. Like a way to screen the game, like a trial. And the closest I can think of are these learn to play sessions where you've got like a designer or developer or somebody or anybody who really knows the game well can do it. It doesn't have to be a designer. I mean, look, you've done these great tutorials, and maybe you weren't the designer or developer. You did it as a content contributor. So I've got a crazy question for you. So how many years ago? So tell me again, you started, 7 years ago, did you say? Did I hear that right?
8 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So how many hours of raw footage do you think you've shot so far on the hobby? Not actually aired, but raw footage that got cut.
It goes to the delete button. Yeah, it's I think half of the footage that I do goes to the delete, because I shoot a lot of short scenes and I screw up some of them. Yep. So I screwed up that one. That goes delete the whole way. So yeah, it's people say it's a lot of work, but after you do it for a while, that's the way I like to do it.
Well, what I appreciate about you, and you've shared this on videos, is you've also at times shared your investment through research of hardware and what you use, your tricks of the trade or your tools of the trade, and like the sliding table behind you. I don't know if that's something you're going to show later or not, but great. So I'll leave that for you. Absolutely. So as far as the videos you've done unboxings and things like that, what would you say has been your favorite video you've done? And no pressure. It doesn't have to be a Compass product. It's an open audience here, much like our Compass Expo. You can play any game from any publisher you want. So I just want to get that out there. There's no pressure. There's no pressure whatsoever. But what would you say is your favorite, video you've done? What game?
I think the video that I enjoy the most doing is I did a playthrough of Raid on Saint Nazaire by
Avalon Hill.
But I had to pick it up because we had people visiting our house, so I only filmed 4 turns or 5 turns.
All right. I need Gregory M. Smith, who's here online live in the audience. I need him to pay close attention to what you just said, because I've been harassing him about needing to do a Raid on Saint Nazaire design. So thank you for mentioning that. I will send a check in the mail to you after we're done. So thanks for mentioning that. Any other favorites you have as far as videos go?
I like the playthroughs. I enjoy the kind of video I enjoy the most, because I'm playing the game and I'm enjoying the game, and it's the most enjoyable kind of video for me. Maybe it's not the most useful for everybody, but it's the most enjoyable one's kind of videos that I like to make.
What's your focus going to be moving forward? The tutorials or the unboxings? I think you've done, well, I don't know if you call them unboxings or overviews, because you go pretty in depth on them, but how would you say what's the mix of your portfolio going to look like, say, moving forward? What percentage of what type of videos do you think?
Well, I'm going to keep on doing playthroughs of games that I'm interested in.
Okay.
But I'm looking more at playthroughs that 3 to 5 turns. I'm not going to do playthroughs that have 20 turns and 1 turn per episode, because then the channel becomes that game's playthrough channel for a whole month. And I'm also going to do more extended examples of play. I know that it's become like the standard in the industry now that most games bring an extended example of play. and they're really nice to have when you have the game. If you don't have the game, I mean, you can read it, but it's hard to fathom what's really going on. And an extended example of play video following the script of the extended example of play in the rule book or playbook is very helpful. Those are the kinds of, I still get today thanks from people who are, I did a few like 7 or 8 years ago, and people still like the video, and they said, help me, break through and ease the learning curve. And because it's like, I like to make the video like placing you right in front of the game. Like if you had the game in front of you, and then I can't screw the video up because the extended example play is correct in terms of the rules. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Right. When you mention it's an extended example of play, I want to make sure I understand you correctly. Are you taking the extended of play that's already written for the game, or are you doing your own version, your own flavor?
If I do my own version with a new game, I'm going to screw up. You know how this is, John. This kind of hobby has a lot of moving pieces. I'm going to screw up a bunch of things.
I have a errata for every. I have errata for every Compass Live I do. Trust me. It's like, don't let it deter you, because everybody knows here there's errata. Every time John talks, there's going to be errata about whatever he said. But I still think there's sort of an art or science to the approach. And I think what's going to happen, or what would be helpful. So what you're doing is awesome. I think it's great what you're doing. I hope others, like having Mo help us at Compass with the Learn to Play sessions, is great. What I also think, when I think of as a gamer, if I put my gamer hat on, what I think, if I had a choice between a type of approach to a extended example, for me, what I have always found the most challenging is how to get started, like for the first turn. Like, in other words, I see a lot of extended examples where you're in the plop in the middle of a game with some set piece example going through everything. But I think for me, as a gamer with a new game for the first time, the first impediment I'm going to run into is, am I setting stuff up right? Am I getting this rule right? Like for turn one, am I actually getting this right? So that's why I was actually intrigued by what Art Lupinacci did with his Finnish expansion, where he does a very detailed first turn analysis, almost like Avalon Hill did back with the general, like perfect strategy for turn one. But for me personally, I would love to see examples that don't just pick it up, set piece in the middle. Help me make sure I'm getting into the game properly. Have I set it up right? And I guess it depends on the game. If say it's a more medium complex game or higher, I might need some help just setting the sucker up. Am I missing something here? How's the first turn really supposed to go? What should I know? It's like a first date where you're nervous on a first date. Like, do I say the right things, right? So I don't know. I don't know what your thought about that is, and I'm curious really what our viewers think about that. But for me, it is sort of like a first date. What do I say? What do I do? I'm sort of lost because I'm playing this game for the very first time. And if there's no intro scenario, oh boy, it's going to be a big challenge probably. But that's just me, maybe.
I think from what I've seen, many of the, I would say like half of the extended examples of play that I see play the first turn of the game. Like, for example, I made an extended example of play video on Crusade and Revolution, and the extended example play is the first turn, because the first turn also gives you a focus on what are the objectives of the game, what are you looking to do, what are the victory conditions, and then you're starting the game towards that path. And those are the ones that are the most useful when you at least if you have at the beginning of the game, and at least one full turn where you go through all the phases and all the mechanics of the turn. And that's the kind of video I want to make. I understand they tend to be long. It could be a 1 hour, an hour and a half video, even edited, because sometimes these extended examples play have 10, 12 pages, but they're the most useful.
Exactly. And then again, this is a perfect discussion point as a lead-in for what actually Fango stole my script. He knows exactly what the main reason I have you here tonight. He stole the script from me. I don't know how he got the script. I have to check who gave it to him, how it leaked out. But there's something you've done, and I'll prove it to Fango here. I'm going to prove it to Fango because I've got this right here pre-prepped. This is our focus. This is where we're going to focus the rest of our discussion. You've already talked about using examples, which helps people immensely. Absolutely. Also helps publishers, to sell their games, because when you do that, somebody might decide to buy a game. So thanks for doing that. But you've also found another way to support games. And that's what I want to focus on today. And that's really the main focus for our discussion tonight. And again, Fango figured it out somehow. And tell us a little bit, for those not familiar, what in the world am I talking about here? What is sequence of play cards? Walk us through an introduction, and let's go from there. Let's focus on that the rest of the way.
Well, sequence of play cards are a form of a player aid, where the sequence of play is broken down into text that is placed in printed on poker-sized cards. Normally, you would see this. I mean, the sequence of play is like the skeleton of the game. It's what holds all the game systems together. If you want to play the game correctly, you have to follow the sequence of play. If you play it some other way, you're not playing that game. So normally what we see in games is the sequence of play, a very cryptic sequence of play in a player aid, which has the title of the phase. And if the game is pretty involved, that's not very helpful. And
right. There's a lot of information. No mnemonics, nothing to help the player along. So where did you get the idea? How did that idea come to you think? How do you think you came upon the idea for sequence of play cards that have more details about what's supposed to happen during that segment or phase?
It was May of 2016, and a game came out from I remember I prepared for this.
Wow, I just fired off a question, and what page number and what paragraph and what word count number was we're going to test you later on that, okay?
In May 2016 came out a game that I was waiting for, because I have some favorite battles. The Battle of Crete, the invasion of Crete, is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
And a magazine game came out at World at War magazine, a game designed by Joe Miranda called Crete, 1941, Operation Mercury. And it was a solo game where you play the Germans.
Okay.
And as many solo games, you probably have noticed, the AI consists of a series of procedures that you have to follow.
Yes.
And this one had 19 phases. So I start playing the game, and I said, well, where's the sequence of play? It wasn't the rule book. There wasn't even a...
So you're going to have the rules open the whole time like this, right? Imagine my rules right here the whole time.
I'm playing the game, and I go, okay, I did phase one. Let me see what's phase two. Open the rule book. And this kind of thing, I said, no, there has to be a better way. So I first did like an outline with the titles, and then I'm going, it doesn't work either, because the title doesn't say British evacuation preparation. What the hell is that? Preparation H, evacuation? What are you talking about? So I'm going, no. There's got to be a better way. And the thing is, I've always been a sucker for playing cards. I love playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
I associate playing cards with fun. So I said, is there any way I can use playing cards here? Then I noticed that playing cards, poker-sized cards, they focus your attention to a small area, which is on the card.
Yeah.
When you have a sequence of play, even those really detailed ones on a letter-sized card, your eyes are searching for the line that you're looking for, and you waste time doing that, or you have to flip it over on the other side.
Yeah.
But a poker-sized card, you're like zoomed in automatically to what the information you need. So I said, well, let me put the information that is in the rule book as to the sequence of play. I'll break it down. And I did it, and I filmed the video. The video is in my channel. Playing each phase is the card is shown, and I play the game. And
that was Crete. That was
great.
Crete. That was Crete. So the video was posted a few years ago, it sounds like, for Crete.
In 2016.
2016. And then I guess it works. Does it work better if the sequence of play is linear? Sometimes I know there might be ODA loops, or there might be sort of a funky sequence of play that might change. It might depend on initiative, or this happens and it flips the sequence of play. But I assume most games, really, I would guess 90% of games have sequential linear sequence of play. So it works very nicely just to go through the deck, right? Just straight linear.
It works with sequences of play that are linear, and it works with sequences of play that you have to sometimes go back to another phase. And that brings me to the second game I did sequence of play cards for, which was a big challenge, which was John Butterfield's RAF by Decision Games. That game, another solo game, has three versions. Two of the versions are solitaire. One is where you play the Brits and one you play the Germans. So I did first the deck for the Germans because I wanted to play the German side because, you know, it was like the new thing in that game. And there was a fellow that put together like a flip book, which is a summary of what you have to do.
Yep.
And I used the flip book for one of my videos first.
Mm-hmm.
And the flip book was fine, but I found myself going outside of the board and doing, it's a disconnect. Every time you have to go to the rule book or to this huge player rate, it's a disconnect from the immersion that you want in a war game. So I said, I'm gonna let me see if I can use those Crete cards, that concept there. And I did a deck of 33 cards, and I put all the information there. And that one is really interesting because it has that loop thing that after a group of raids, maybe there's another raid and it says go back to card number 8. So you flip the cards and you go back to card number 8, and I'll show them to you later. And it works great. And people started to appreciate and download those cards, and everybody liked them very much. Even John Butterfield, I had a chance at Consim World Expo to show him the cards, and he liked the idea very much.
Yeah, a few people here have commented. I showed them earlier. Is they were mentioning RAF before you mentioned it, that they are aware of your cards for RAF and they really enjoy them. Is this something you can actually show to the audience? Like, is there a way we can go through? I don't know if you have anything along those lines. I can zoom in on you, or oh, there you go. Well, let's do it that way. And lo and behold, do I see some Compass Game products? Look at that.
Yeah.
I hope they're not there for paperweights. I hope they're there for actual. Oh, look at that. There are the cards. Yep. There we go. I'll let you take it away. I'm going to zoom in on you so we can just focus on what you're doing.
Sure. Okay. So this here is that Crete game, right? And these are the cards. The first ones that I made that are pretty crude, but they worked. Unless you wanted to go to the rule book, these are the cards. And the cards, you see, they have these numbers, and you arrange the cards in numeric order. You have the lowest card in the bottom and the highest card on top. And what you do is, the great thing about these cards is that in wargaming, there's always somewhere on the map where nothing's going on.
Yeah.
So you can place the deck here and look at the footprint of the deck. You're going to have a discard pile here. This is all the space it occupies compared to a letter-sized player rate. You can't place this on the map normally. Normally you can't do that. So the thing is that you flip the first card, and it tells you what to do.
Yep.
Gain Flieger Corps points, and it has the title, the number.
It matches the
title,
sequence of play. Yeah.
It matches, and this is taken from the rule book, and you play that phase. You go to the next one.
Yep. And
sometimes special rules are mentioned here. You know that sometimes we have these rules like Chrome rules that
exactly
that they occur during a specific phase. That's the place to place them.
Yeah.
And you see, it tells you what to do. It has, if you're playing with this optional rule, there's where it goes. So notice that they're color coded because these are all German phases. See, so we're still playing, doing actions with the Germans. And see, and I'm in phase number 7. It's 19.
You're following the sequence of play. Yep, absolutely.
Following the sequence of play. And now we have something that the Allies do. And so the color coding changed.
Yep.
Now it's the Allied anti-aircraft phase.
Yep.
And we're back to the German tactical air attack phase. There's no way you're going to commit this to memory, this kind of a game. I mean, unless you're the designer or something like that. And so we're going here, and sometimes you have language that you can skip it in certain the phase in certain instances, and you just keep going. Allied evacuation check, Allied evacuation phase.
And that was your first. This was your first deck you ever did, right? This was your first.
This is my first deck.
That's impressive.
And then you finish and you do this, and you're ready for the second turn.
You go for the next turn. Yep, awesome.
So that's the Crete cards. And then the next set of cards I made were these sequence of play cards. This was for the Eagle version.
Yeah,
And
so this is
and
the
you see
one a
their
lot of people,
Yeah.
watching live. Some of they're quite pop. They like this RAF card deck you did. They're familiar with it, so this will be good. So this is your
So
second pass. This is your second go around at doing
yes,
sequence of play cards. Okay.
yes. And in this game, John Butterfield divides the game in phases. You see the yellow coloring for the daily planning phase, but you see there's a bunch of cards because each card is a segment within the phase. Then you go to the raid phase. Then you go to the airfield operations phase. Then you go to the calendar update phase.
Wow.
So
Yep.
it's 4 phases, but it's a lot of segments.
Hey Joe, I got some
So
questions. I got some viewer
sure,
questions for you because this is very interesting. So they want to ask these questions. So one
sure,
suggestion. So I'm showing it now. I don't know if you can see your screen. Once I'll read it out. One suggestion from
yeah.
Imanity on YouTube is, I would like to suggest adding the words for the colors on the cards, and you can probably guess why, because of colorblind people. So he just wanted to mention that,
Oh,
there's a pretty big population that are colorblind. So the colors is going
okay.
to be obviously an issue there. And then Rally, thanks for joining us, Rally, on YouTube. He's asking, is the card text that you're showing us now, is that a direct copy paste from the rules, or are you editing it, you're coming up with your own style, that summarizes the key points? How's that?
Okay.
How do you approach that?
Now that's a great question because sometimes the rules are so wordy
Yeah.
that it won't fit on the card. So sometimes, yes, you have to use some other words, but mostly it's the language in the rules. So I tend to stick to the rules, but sometimes there's ways of saying things that take like 5 words. If I can use 2, I'll use 2 and hopefully not miss anything. Now, as to
Oh,
the color coding, I understand, but let me flip the card so I can
okay.
show here. The card always, no matter what color it has, always has the title of the phase on top.
That's
So
true.
you have
And
here
yeah. And
so
the number
you have the
phase.
German, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's always there. See? And then
Okay.
you have the number. The anatomy of a sequence of play card is you have the number, and you're going to have the title of the phase.
Yes.
You're going to have an illustration, and I'll tell you why an illustration helps. And then you're going to have a text that you follow. And notice here that you have a table. The good thing about sequence of play cards is that not all, but some of
Yeah.
the tables in the game can fit in the card. So that's another trip you just
A nice
save
little
to a
bonus. Yeah.
playwright. Yeah. So now this particular card is optional. So if you're not playing with this card, you can take it out. But let's go to the next card. See, the next card is the German strategy draw phase. See,
Mm-hmm.
and then it tells you it begins on a particular turn, and then you have another table there. You see, so you follow the instructions from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's excellent.
And here we
Excellent.
see another card, and here we see you're going to see sometimes yellow highlight, and those are what we call conditional statements. Look, we call if-then statements.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
you're going to see more of those. I try to put them at the beginning of the bullet, and when you read that statement, if the condition applies, you keep on reading that bullet. Otherwise, just skip
You
that
skip
bullet
it.
and move
Yep.
on.
Just move
Yeah.
on. Perfect.
See.
Yep. And
So
there's
here we
more
have
there.
more,
Yep.
another
Another
all right.
question while you're flipping. Chris Fawcett on YouTube
Yes.
wants to know, are these self-printed cards, or do you send them out to a card printing service?
No, I did them with PowerPoint.
And then the printing, what about the actual, so are these printed at home,
Okay.
or do you, yeah.
Yeah. I did them on PowerPoint, and I print these cards. I think I printed 6 on 6 of each on a letter-sized cardboard, back printed, and I printed it. I think it was printed with a regular printer and laminated them.
Oh, the
But
lamination.
these are
Okay,
poker-sized cards.
yeah, they look like they're laminated now that you mentioned that.
Yeah,
Okay, I
I
didn't notice that
laminated them,
before.
yes.
Very nice. Very
Yes.
nice. Okay, excellent.
So let me tell you about why an illustration is important. It's not because we want to be fine and dandy and beautiful. No, it has a purpose. I mean,
Okay.
I think most war gamers like to immerse themselves in the game. I think most of them do. And if you're going to conduct a phase that about a particular topic, if you can put some illustration there that will that will help the immersion process. But also what happens is the more you use these cards, when you get to this card again, you've already memorized this, you know this, and the card, the picture triggers that triggers you remembering it. So
that makes sense.
It helps you associate.
Yeah, it makes the visual association to what's happening. You don't have to read the text anymore. Very cool. Yep.
So all the illustrations have to do with what's happening. See, night patrol assignment, you have a pilot,
Yep, it's a nighttime and
an aircraft
there you
time.
go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Repair, and you have the putting out fires. So we're still in this phase, what was called the daily planning phase.
Okay, yeah.
Now we're going to move to the raid phase. And now in the raid phase, but this particular game has a lot. I mean, imagine, John, you're going to, the raid selection and deployment phase. If you go to the this is what the game brings.
Wow,
raid
that's
deployment. So, do you think you know what to do if you read just the title? No way.
Unless
you're John Butterfield, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Preaching to the choir here. I'm big in the mnemonics and reminders. Yep, absolutely.
So see here, you see a series of if-then statements. If intelligence level is poor, it's not poor, move ahead. You just go through quickly these.
Yep. That yellow definitely helps.
Here we have one.
Skip past it.
Yeah. Here we have another one with a table.
That's great.
So we're still in the raid phase. We're in card 13. This is 33. Some cards are going to have a lot of space with nothing else. Yeah, well, that's
it makes
the way
me think of how it is playing this game without the 33 cards. After I saw that paper you were showing, I'm like, oh my gosh, this definitely helps a lot. And the conditional if statements is a really great idea to make that stand out so you can skip it, and the visuals.
And I've had a lot of help from RAF fans that have, sometimes they notice mistakes or things that could be improved. This deck has been there for like 6 years, I think. So here's one of those loop things that I told you. See here.
Look at that. Yeah, step numbers. That's the phases.
If this applies, do it. But then you say, if you move the clock marker to the end of day space, then it says, go ahead to step 25. We're in step 21. Then you would skip 22, 23,
awesome.
23, 24, and 20, and then you go to step 25. See?
I love it. Yeah, that is great. That is great.
So you keep on going, and
why was the 25 card highlighted? Because it's optional. Step 25 might not happen because the card title on 25 was conditional in the title.
That must be a mistake in this card.
Okay. I was just curious. Yeah. Oh, but it's maybe it's because it's optional. I see you have something called optional. Okay, that's our errata. We understand errata. That's okay.
It's everywhere.
It's all good. We understand errata happens, right?
Okay, so we're reaching 29 update replacement points, light loss replacements. See, look, compare the light loss replacements to the heavy loss replacement. You see this, and it's heavy loss.
Yeah,
it's a lot of smoke.
Yeah, the visual helps you. memorize. You did a great job picking these photos. So you obviously invested time and effort to really think through what imagery can I grab that's going to really visually represent this text, because I agree with you that after some playthroughs, and I'd probably play the game more, by the way, because of your cards, right? That I'm going to memorize these things when I see the visual. The visual is going to take over.
Yep.
So that is very
cool. You will end up reading less and less as you play along.
Yes.
So, and the best thing about this thing is when you finish the last one, you just do this and you're ready for the next turn. See?
Yep. And Joe asked, did you check the photos for copyrights? I guess if this is sort of a it's for your own personal use.
Well, I usually take those that are in the public domain.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Yep.
These are, I mean, that's another show, the legal public domain and fair use. That's another thing. Okay.
All right. Well, look at this. We got some Compass products here. Okay. Now we're talking. I like that cover. I like the back. I like the back cover for the Fortress Europa. I like that image you're going with. Yeah, there you go. Where'd you get that image from? No idea.
Okay. So Fortress Europa, Fortress Europa is not it's not a complex game at all, but
No.
it has some, and the new Compass edition, clarified the sequence of play, which was in the rule book. It wasn't anywhere else.
The original edition didn't have a dedicated sequence of play. It was sort of buried in a bunch of paragraphs. So we actually created a sequence of play outline for the first time. So yeah, we're always looking to improve things. So yeah, so thanks for mentioning that.
And here is the play rate for the expanded sequence of play. I mean, and this is expanded. This is practically the information that I put in the cards, but I decided to make the cards because if I'm going to play the game and I just played the allied replacement phase, when I'm going to do the next impulse or phase, I got to pick this up and my eyes have to search. Okay, so I put it all in the cards here.
There we go.
And here's the cards, and they're color coded. You see those that are neutral. The neutral segment is in black. The German segments are in field gray, and then the American segments.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Wow.
So, and these, it's the same
size, poker size cards, right? There you go.
Same size, poker size cards. See, you have the big picture there, not a lot of text.
And I think you had that invasion. You had that invasion there. I know in Joe's. I'm sorry. And yeah, you're going to get to that probably, aren't you? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean, but I noticed that earlier.
This is an extra.
Yes.
Because in the invasion turn, it's a different sequence. So I made a different card for that. So this one, you would just have it aside. And awesome. You use this invasion sequence for the first impulse. But then after that, you just play with the regular deck.
That's great. Love it. Love it.
And here you see and this one, I mean, it's you have the same thing beginning with turn 2. If it's not turn 2, skip.
Skip it, right? Yep.
Skip it. Yeah. Put that in red. That is... I think that's the language.
Yeah, that's good to say it's prohibited to remind you can't do it. So yeah, red's a good stop sign color metaphor. So there you go.
And now we start with a German turn.
Yep. Look at that. There. Yep.
German first impulse, combat of the first impulse. Then you have the German second move impulse.
Nice. I like that where it shows the restrictions. I love the restrictions you worked in that way in red.
And then German second combat impulse, German rail control, then supply phase, and then we end up with the turn end segment.
And start over again.
Start over again.
Love it.
And that takes us to Zeppelin Raider.
Well, Gregory Smith's going to be excited. He's online right now. So this is his design. So wonderful. Looking forward to seeing what you did with...
I purchased Zeppelin Raider because it was so rare. There's games about Zeppelin. There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And you got to be like, you got to be like crazy to get aboard of one of these huge, gas blimps, and it takes a different kind of courage.
Sort of a scary concept to start, isn't it? It has that risk. It has that risk 007 to it going on. That's true.
So I noticed that I couldn't find the sequence of play in anywhere but the rule book. So I did a sequence of play deck, and the way that the game is organized, it has like 3 parts.
Okay.
It has the mission mechanics, which is like a phase. Yeah. Then you have the flight sequence.
Yeah.
And there you progress to post-flight sequence.
Excellent. Excellent.
So we use the color coding to distinguish each one of these epochs or
epochs. That's a good way to look at them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look at that.
Here you
Wonderful.
go.
You do great visuals. Bye. That's great.
It's not a complex game. But when you break it down this way, it's a lot easier. This is less intimidating than going to the rule book every time.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so you got the takeoff weather check, load your Zeppelin, and then you have also references to rules. If you have to look anything up,
perfect.
You can put the rule number there. Yeah. And then it says the next is go to flight sequence. So now we go to the flight sequence. We're in light blue, flight sequence, travel and adjust altitude, mechanical failure
I feel like I'm surreptitiously playing the game right now, just going through the cards. Just need
weather, wind check. Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Roll
That
for
is great.
encounters.
Great images. Great images you got there.
Bombing,
That's awesome.
scouting routine. Resolve encounters.
Greg wants a set of Zeppelin cards for his design. Yeah, I'm
Refit.
not shocked. That's a good idea.
Check for awards.
Yeah.
Special advances check, and then you have the mission success check.
Wow, what great
And
images
then-
you went with. Those are great images on those cards.
Yeah.
Perfect fit for that text. That's great.
And then the other one I Compass game I made. These ones I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't line up the backs pretty well, so I have this white stripe there. These are for the Conquistadors.
Yeah, John Southard's game. Yep, that we released last year. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, over the holidays,
So
I think it was.
It's not a lot of cards, but because the game, I mean, any grognard will find the sequence kind of strange here because this is a conquest game. So you have here, for example, strategy card discards, and you skip during the first turn.
Ron is asking, what's the hardest sequence to organize? Like, what's your opinion about? I don't know. Maybe it's if the sequence of play needs to be shortened and you're adding rules and you're adding tables like you did. What would you think?
Sometimes a phase has a ton of actions, right? So what I do is I just break the phase into two cards. Let's say refit phase 1 and refit phase 2, and you just break it down to two cards. I mean, it's
like a 5A, 5B, right? Like a sequence
5B. Yes, I mean it's the great thing. The great thing about the cards are that they're low profile. They stack up. You just add another card. See, you have here initiative.
That's great.
See, and there's not a lot of things to do, but you have a number of phases there. Impulse rounds. This one I couldn't fit a picture because
a lot of information,
pretty involved.
Yeah, that could have been almost two cards, but you fit it on one. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm curious for those that are watching right now in the chat. Have you heard of the sequence of play cards from Stuka Joe before? If you have not, let us know. I'm curious how many of you are seeing this for the very first time. But let us know in the chat. Let us know if you've seen this concept before. I'd be interested to know. Go ahead, Joe. Thanks.
Victory determination phase. Yeah. These are just 8 cards, so it's not. I mean, not all games need them,
right?
But when those that need it, it's a big difference especially for somebody who. It's like, let me put it this way: it's first impressions are important. If your first impression of a game is that you spent all night diving into the rule book to see what you were going to do, you're not going to associate good things with that. So if you can ease that learning curve and make it more enjoyable, you're going to catch the nuances of the game a lot faster.
Well, that's what I was sort of alluding to earlier when we were talking about extended examples of play that are getting done. And in your case, I sort of struggle with just getting started with the game. And what you've shown here is really a tool that addresses that head on, that as a first-time game player, are these cards going to help me compared to if I didn't have these cards for a fairly complex game? Guess what? It's going to help me a whole hell of a lot to get into the game because those cards are going to help guide me, get me focused. And then as I play, you're right, it's going to go to that visual photo where I'm not reading the text as much anymore. And then you've got the and if statements, the highlighted yellows where you can skip quickly and move on. I mean, I see this to get into a game, which I think a lot of people have commented on here. There is an extra challenge, I think, the first time you play something. And I see these sequence of play cards can definitely be a benefit to a new first-time player of a game. Absolutely. I think so. So
it's a tool. It's there, you know.
Yeah, and that's amazing. No, thank you for walking us through that. And I understand you've also invested some time. Just we have a little time. We've gone a little bit over, but I just want to give a quick blurb. I know you've also done some work with card-driven games, a solitaire system around card-driven games. Do you want to maybe give a sort of an elevator pitch on what that's all about? We have about 2 or 3 minutes, I think, left tonight. Okay.
Well, it's the CDG solo method. It's a way of playing card-driven games where you have you preserve uncertainty. When I'm going to play a side, there's uncertainty as to what cards on that side, in that side's hand, I can play each turn. There's not a guarantee that I can play all of them. Right. Normally, I can play 2 or three of the 5 cards that are going to be there. And while that's happening, there's going to be only like 2 or 3 cards visible on the other side's hand. And it's okay to look at the other side's hand, because you don't know when you then go to play the other side.
Yep.
And this is not an AI. This is, you're going to play both sides.
Okay.
When you play one side, you don't know which cards on that side's hand, in that side's hand, you will be actually able to play. And at the same time, you don't know the identity of 2 or 3 cards over there. And when you go to play that side, you don't know which card you're going to play.
Right.
Either.
That's great.
So it creates that uncertainty that you have in a face-to-face game. I mean, it's not the same experience as the face-to-face game. But
right,
it's a lot better than playing with all cards face up and you trying to fool yourself. Let me see if I forget what I just saw 2 minutes ago on the German side. That kind of thing.
I want to thank you. Yeah. No, please. I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, please continue.
No. I did that in 2016 also. No, 2016. In 2017, the current version was was stable, and GMT, they're going to do their games using that, including that those materials for people who want to play them by themselves. I know many people. Compass has also CDGs. And not all CDGs. I mean, there's some CDGs that have some challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
and I just want to say
many of them can be used.
And I just want to say, definitely I'm very interested, in your sequence of play card idea. That's why I want to have you on tonight. I definitely see the benefits to it. So, just speaking from the perspective of the games we do, where we see a good fit, I think it'd be really interesting to explore something like that. And I was asking you earlier about CDGs. Is that something where you could do it for like Compass? Or if we were working on a CDG and you were interested in the topic, maybe you would get involved in that perhaps down the road one day. But no, I always enjoy talking with you. I always enjoy your videos, but I want to just thank you for all you've done for the hobby. Just, your content, how you're contributing content for people to enjoy the hobby more. I mean, that's what it's all about, enjoying games. But you've also gotten involved in finding innovative ways to help games or help gamers, like you've done with the sequence of play cards. And I want to share what you've done with everybody, because I think it's a great idea. And yeah, I think it would be lovely if maybe somehow we could do something like that. I mean, it's worth consideration and goes through something to discuss for future projects. But I think it's a very innovative concept. For sure, for certain games, like you said, and you've proven it with several Compass games. You've already done it for several Compass games, which is really nice. Thanks for picking some Compass games and doing that. Actually, I wanted to thank you for actually.
Well, I picked the games because I like them.
Well, that's always good to hear, right? That's good to hear that you pick those games because you like them, for sure. So that brings a smile to all our faces, but. What's in the future for you? So what do you think your focus is going to be? I know you've got the Solitaire 1 stuff you're doing, but as far as videos go and what people should expect from you, I don't know if you have certain personal goals for videos or what have you. I just thought I'd just end on the note of just share with us what you're thinking for the future, because you've done so much already to help others' enjoyment of the hobby. I'm just curious.
I'm going to continue with the channel doing videos that I like to do, like playthroughs, extended examples of play. I like to do sometimes short videos on specific topics, and I always tell people that if they're interested in diving into this thing about making videos about war games, that I'm always an open book. You can email me at stukajoe@gmail.com, and I'm an open book. I like to help other people jump aboard, because there's no way I can possibly cover all the war games that come out or that have come out. It's for some reason, I mean, there's a lot of war gaming going on all over the world, and not just in the United States, all over the world. You have now companies in Europe and other places, and they're making excellent games. So it's really hard to keep up. And I think the video format can contribute a lot to making these games more accessible, because I think a lot of people don't play them because they think they're difficult, and I think that it can take a lot of the pain associated with learning a game or learning a game system. When you see it on a video unfolding before your eyes, and some people learn visually, Some
Yes.
people can take a rule book and play the game great
Yes.
from the first time, but some people they need to see it, and I think the video format is not, the purpose is not to substitute the rules, no,
Right. No,
but
right.
it's to show you as if you have the game in front of you, because the company's not going to send you the game to see like a test drive. Oh, if you don't like it, bring it back. They're not going to do that.
Well,
So-
for me personally, it goes back to the 1990s. So I always felt like I had a game club in Arizona. I lived in Arizona before going overseas to Switzerland, and the game club was great because I could learn new games. I was an active play gamer for sure. We had like 60, 70 people, and people could help each other learn games. And then I went to Zurich, Switzerland, much more isolated, and it made me realize, well, not everybody has a chance to have a game club, and I don't have much of a game club anymore. It's a much smaller group in Switzerland. And I came up, because there was no YouTube or videos at the time, I came up with cassette tapes, like the talking version for Triumphant Fox. And the whole idea was like a video, have somebody walk you through how to play a game. It's not replacing the rules. It's literally to guide you. It's your best friend holding your hand, walking you through in a very welcoming way, understanding the system, the victory conditions, whatever else is going, the whole 9 yards. And this takes me back to the early 90s, where I always felt that making games easier and video is so exciting, like you said, and what you do, having contributors like yourself is so exciting for the hobby. Because 30 years ago, we didn't have video. We couldn't leverage this type of technology to help support gamers, right? So it really it definitely makes a big difference in the hobby, a big dent to ease the learning curve, and gets people buying more games once they know they can learn them and see videos about them. So absolutely. So,
and if you ask me on what do I want to focus like during the next upcoming months, it is on extended example of play videos, because I think if people would see an extended example of play as written with all the details, but in a video,
yes,
a well-produced video, then I think the game, because an extended example of play shows you how to play the game right and shows you the nuances of strategy. So you're getting nuanced play and correct play in terms of the rules. So you're getting that like expert play and the rules at the same time. And that, if you don't like the game after seeing an extended after going through an extended example play, that's game's not for you.
Well, I think that's where the talent that's the content contributor, such as yourself, is going to play a big role in that. Because if I take 100 people to say, do this extended example of play video, how many people are going to meld in the strategy or the victory conditions or the big picture items, not just this is, move this, do this, consult this chart. This is what's happened, but what's the implications of that happening? Oh, this unit just got eliminated. Now we've got supply rules we got to worry about. This front could be at risk now because, on the left flank, say it's a Civil War game, you can talk in a bigger, more historical, does that make sense? Like you're talking more about the historical situation, not just like how to learn the rules to a game. And you can do that, right? Like you're mentioning it now, getting into the strategy and the implications of this example of play. It might not be in the rules that way, though. The rules are going to be tight. It might just be, here's the example. It doesn't get into the ramifications. But if you're able to meld in a storyline and wrap that around the example, that would be a very compelling video, I would say, because that's the whole story. It's not just learning the game. It's what's happening and what the implication is to the game. So that's a great note. So I'm excited to see these. Can you share with us? Do you have any ideas what... maybe I'll bug you offline. Boy, I'd love to see that for a Compass game. I owe you a favor. I owe you a favor for being here, so I don't think I can ask a favor. But it'd be awesome maybe to see something like that towards a Compass game. That would be very cool. So that's awesome.
I think I'm going to break the ice with this next video. I don't want to announce it yet because I want it to come out right. And it's like everything that. The more I do of these kinds of video, the easier it is for me to produce. But I'm working on this one now, and I hope it's going to be a long video. But if you're interested in the game, it should keep viewer attention for the whole duration. I mean, because it's going to be. Let's put it this way: it's supposed to be as good as the the extended example of play that the designer put in the rule book. If the
Right.
extended example of play in the rule book is, well, the video can't save it,
Yeah, it's sort of, for me, it's sort of like an unboxing. If there's an unboxing that just goes through, oh, it's the rules. Oh, it's the counters. Yeah, here's the dice,
Yeah.
and there's 8 charts and tables. But if there's no commentary about the game at all, it's just here's the parts. It sort of leaves me flat. It's nice to see. It's still nice to see the components. Yeah, and that serves a purpose. It does serve a purpose. You do want to see the components. That's very cool to see it on video. But it's always nice for somebody who spends the time that can talk about the game a little bit, like they've maybe researched or invested some time in it, versus just saying here's the components and that's it. Even though that does serve a purpose, I realize, and it is a big time commitment to learn to comment about a game for an unboxing further than that. But I like what John Longshore said. He said, can you move next door to me with all your gadgets and everything? And you can have a production. So John wants to be part of your production crew. He wants to be like a stage handler we didn't get a chance to talk about your fancy setup because we ran out of time, but I think everybody here, I've seen some great comments. People just really appreciate your time to be with us, to share with what you've done and your ideas. I think everybody's really enjoyed this, and I think everybody's thanked you for your wonderful unboxings, for example. Most thanking you for your incredible work you've done. So just want to say, please keep it up. We thank you for what you do.
Sean.
Thanks for bringing enjoyment to others, and hope I can have you again on the show, and I'll bug you offline one day. Maybe we can do some more stuff professionally together. Seems like you have some good ideas. Maybe it's worth a shot.
I'm here, and thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. You take care, Joe. It was a pleasure to talk with you tonight. Bye-bye.
Take care, John. Good night.
So I just want to thank everybody again. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. And again, we do really thank all you as customers who play our games, those that are content contributors. We've got Mo, we've got Jack Staleka, we've talked about tonight, and the Facebook group, the enthusiasts, Mark, for example, etc. So we know there's a lot of people out there that really make this a stronger community and really help others enjoy the hobby as well. So this was really just a moment in time for us for Compass Games Live 59. We want to tip our hat again to Maurice Fitzgerald for what he's doing to help us with our Discord channel, and how we're happy to invest in it to increase, having HD videos to help everybody enjoy it more. That's the whole point of it, is for more enjoyment. So we want to make sure it's top quality for all of you, and I'm happy to help you get onto Discord. If you're having any problems, just email me at john@compassgames.com. And of course, what Joe's done is pretty amazing, and he's enjoying it, and we're all enjoying seeing what he's doing. So as a reminder, again, we've got Compass Games Expo coming up in November over Veterans Day weekend. It's a great way we can celebrate the hobby together, especially with Billy Thomas, the whole family, the whole Thomas family, and you'll get incredible savings on all Compass products. So please check out the Expo page on our website. It's really a high energy, fun time. It's like going back to college and doing all-nighters and really enjoying and forgetting about some of those pressures from our real world responsibilities. So please consider November in Connecticut for Compass Games Expo. We're really excited to be back for an in-person event. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all again. If you didn't see the newsletter, you can see it from the Console World forum. It's posted there as well as on our Discord channel, and on the Console World community, it's posted there as well. So please check out our June specials. We've got those 3 games on special. You can see we've got our release schedule posted now on our main page through September. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me on the website with my waving hand. You can send me a message or a video, and I'll be happy to get back to you. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you did enjoy the show. It looks like a lot of you, especially those that didn't know about the sequence of play cards, found them really intriguing, and we're glad you enjoyed it and got to spend some time with Stuka Joe tonight. So thank you all very much. Have a great evening. We'll see you next Thursday night when we're joined with Bill and Billy Thomas, and we're going to be having our next town hall session. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you in a week. Bye-bye.